Stop the world, let me off. I don't like this destination. I like a transfer to the express line. I gotta get off. Electric slide to the devil doors of life. Things are changing and it ain't the way I like. On the replay, wish I could get a replay. Don't mean to hold ya, but I wanna do over. Gas up the ship, shoot me a text and let me know when it is time. I wanna get off, I wanna get off. 1 star, would not recommend that we go far from here. I wanna get off, I wanna get off. Stop the world. A music podcast for the culture. Wild thoughts.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Wild Thoughts. Man, we got a whole bunch to talk about tonight. Mars is joining us from the East Coast.
Welcome aboard, bro.
From the East Coast. I'm glad you was able to jump on. I thought we got on too late. I thought we missed you, but it's good to see you back. You know, your fans are going to be happy. You know, Rob.
Fans.
You know the Mars fan club. Where's Mars?
Yeah.
Every time you're not on.
Everybody got the little curly wigs on and shit.
If I'm down here, I'm sleeping.
How you doing, man?
Chilling. It's been a very interesting 24 hours.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yo.
Hey, well, damn, you know what? I didn't even add to the list, V-Ray.
What's that?
I forgot about the damn Signal Gate, the chat.
Oh yeah, nah, this gonna be a 4-hour show in a minute, bro.
Damn, how did I forget about that? Because you know why? So much shit happened in like 3 days.
Absolutely, including the other data breaches that happened since then and shit.
Dude, so
There's been at least three, right?
Let's start with that. Let's start with they call it Signal Gate. Let's start with Signal Gate, where Pete Hegseth, the guy in charge of basically all of the military, basically tried to do a strike. Well, he tried to, what's the word I'm looking for? Tried to plan a strike through bootleg WhatsApp. And mistakenly added somebody from the Atlantic. Like, bro, if I was like to write this in the script and be like, all right, and then we gonna add the dude for the newspaper in right here, everybody like, no, you can't do that. That's too dumb. Like nobody would believe that shit would happen.
Can I add something to that?
Bro.
Can I add something to that?
Let's keep it real, like.
You know he's an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say that he may have been a little inebriated.
That's what Willie said the same time he was drunk.
But actually, what's his name? What's the dude's name that created the chat? It wasn't Hex Seth. It was
that started the chat. It was Walls, right?
Walls, yeah, Mike Walls, yeah.
Mike Walls created so. Not only so, I don't know if y'all know. I think what's his name? Pete Buttigieg was explaining how they had to do everything on a secure laptop, on a secure site, secure internet, and all that. He said the amount of things you have to do to take it out of that protocol is crazy. They're like the fact that he moved it to that chat, they put so much effort into taking it out of protocol to do that. And they said it was like, not only is it unsecured, as you see, you can add and anybody can leave. You know what I'm saying? It's funny because they said people was like, who was that just left?
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing a strike on a whole other country and don't even know who's in the chat with you?
Oh, let's not forget also that there were some members that were over in Moscow.
Yeah.
Yeah, one dude was in Russia at the time.
Yeah, one dude was in Russia, like literally at the time. So it's like, and and they have like Tulsi Gabbard. Not only did they not do it on a secure server, they was actually doing this on their personal cell phones. They didn't even use their government cell phones to do the chat. They were using a regular ass personal cell phones to do the chat. Now, y'all all know that Russia and a bunch of other places have been trying to hack y'all. Why would you do anything on your regular phone in this administration?
Because they're dumb.
Yeah. Well, I think that. Well, I don't know for certain that this is the case, but since they do so much shit that's outside of the law, you know, the National Archives Records Act or something like that requires a lot of that shit go through those protocols, because then it's tracked and they have records of what was discussed and who was involved and shit like that. So when they want to do some subterfuge, they bypass that system. You know what I mean? So that this may not have been one of those. This was just a dumb fucking idea this time around. But they say that that's one reason why they employ these outside systems is to backdoor the National Archive once the administration is over.
Yeah, because it was like, I think they said like the messages, they had it where the messages could disappear.
Yeah, it's end-to-end encryption, but that don't mean shit.
That not a damn thing. After 2 days or something, like.
Oh, but you are aware that Mike Walls was also sending communication through his Gmail account, right?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The other breaches.
I didn't know that.
And his Cash App friends and address books and shit like that got jacked. And with a bunch of administration people, home addresses and shit in there, and today they just announced that I guess somebody took a historical look at the Signal history, and they've had over 20 meetings on Signal before this one that came out and shit. These niggas is like, hey, don't tell nobody, but and then drop a national secret and shit.
Like this, you can't write this shit. It's like a joke. It's really like a joke, bro. Like I don't understand. Yeah, they was using emojis and shit, texting like teenagers.
Yeah.
Like
did y'all see the Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, where they were like, we're high school girl. And they're like, oh, that's Jenny from Defense.
He's like, I'm waiting for someone to pick me up for a date. No boy said Matt Gates. Like, actually, yeah. If you're into that sort of comedy, and I am.
Yeah, dude, it was hilarious. I don't know. I just this administration continues to do stuff that is like baffling, like the Three Stooges and shit. But there is no accountability. Like nobody's been fired for this yet. Nobody's gonna get in trouble.
No. And
they do all of this stuff, and it does not matter. Like nothing's gonna happen to them.
And immediately the Republicans' talking point it was a mistake. Let's move on. I mean, come on, really. And first started out with there were no military plans discussed and shit like that, and went downhill from there. Especially what's her name, Tulsi Gabbard, testifying before in that hearing that there were no plans exchanged, and they released the actual verbiage from the conversation. So there's no perjury charges, no, you know what I mean? Nothing. It blatant. I mean, when it's on TV that you committed a crime.
No, like, and that's what I say. It's like they're like, did you use your phone? She's like, well, we ain't got to get into all that. Like. And then first they're like, we didn't have no classified nothing. And then old boy like, oh word, and he was like, here go the play-by-play. We dropping bombs on Yemen in 12 minutes.
Right.
Well, that's not that classified.
Right. He didn't say where from Omaha. Well, he didn't say how many. 18 tons. And 32 bombs. Well, he didn't say what color. Like, shut up. It was terrible, man. But I just mean the blatant
stupidity.
The stupidity too. But I mean, it's not even the stupidity that's horrible, but the way that it's let slide publicly.
Yeah.
And I wish that in times like these, I could talk directly to like a staunch Republican about, how does this stuff get a pass with you, or like what's your thoughts on how this was mishandled? Because there's, clearly no real excuse for it, but just like the Republican Party tries to like give this shit a pass, I wonder what the mindset of actual, dyed in the wool Republican is for some shit like this.
Yeah, Stephanie said Tulsi Gabbard was a total idiot in that hearing, all while she's trying to give the runaround and dodge the question being asked. If that was her in the chat, another one openly admitted that yes, it was true that it all took place. It was just stupid. Yeah, and it made it look even more stupid. That's why I say it's like a bad episode of Veep. She did all that running around. They asked dude next to him. He like, oh yeah. Like after she did all of that, he like, oh yeah, that was us. we did that. Like literally, right? I was like, this is like a bad comedy. Willie said they are the DEI hires, the entire administration, including the president. You know what? I'm actually making a video about this for Art Republic, but I was talking about how, like, you know how they talk about they don't want DEI, but they want meritocracy. So DEI means black, meritocracy means white.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you cannot say that you're making what your hire is based off of meritocracy when all these people that you hire are not qualified. Now let's look at first RFK Jr. He's in charge of human health and all of that, and he ain't hold on. Look at my room. I'm the dresser. He's in charge of human health, but he don't believe in vaccines. He's in charge of human health, and he said a worm ate some of his brain. Yeah. He's in charge of human health, and he said we should start selling unpasteurized milk, which would take us back to the days when people was dying from dysentery. This is who is in charge, and he's never done anything in the medical field to be able to even run this. And so that means he's in charge of our health and our food.
And doesn't really research.
And his database is the internet. You know what
right,
I mean?
Right. He's like your lower level conspiracy theorists, not even the good ones, like not even the ones on the dark web. Like he's the one Google search, are vaccines causing autism? He's that dude. So that's who. And so then after that, you get Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon's wife.
That's the worst one, man.
She's in charge of the Department of Education, and she got a teacher certificate way back when, before she even got married, and never taught. Was on the board. I think she was on the board of education for 1 year in Connecticut, but wasn't in the field. And then she was on the board of, or one of the trustees of, I can't remember the university out, Sacred Heart in Connecticut. But that's just money. That's just like they got money, they got bread.
Yeah.
Pandora said there's a whole measles outbreak in North Texas from unvaccinated children. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the shit, the stuff they doing and saying is gonna actually hurt and affect people, and they are in charge, and there's nobody to check them. There's no checks and balances for these people that he's hired for the cabinet, and it's scary because that means you're gonna have 4 years of them just really, really messing up, and the Republicans ain't got enough balls to say, hey, y'all, we shouldn't do this, or we should vote this down. And even a lot of stuff you can't vote down because he's literally governing by executive order. Most of the stuff, like none of this stuff is really going through Congress.
Right.
So,
hey, you talk about DEI hire, man. Be sure to look for the confirmation hearing for Sean Donahue, who was he was getting confirmed for the Senate Environmental and Public Works Committee. And that's typically like the EPA lawyers are typically, it's just a band of lawyers that do environmental law and shit. This motherfucker, man, I forget who was interviewing him or questioning him at that point, but this dude has never written, he's never had a deposition, he's never been in a court case ever, he's never written a proposal for a law. Like, there was like, have you ever done this? No, sir, I have not. Have you done this? No. Have you done this? Like a whole laundry list of just basic shit. Do you know what this legal term means? You're like, vaguely, yeah, kind of, but yeah, so kind of, sort of. And it was just exhausting just how unqualified this dude was. I mean, some of the basic shit that lawyers do, he had done none of them, not done it a little bit. he was a lawyer at one firm where he was supposed to be supervising like 4 lawyers, and they fired him from that one. Then something else he had on his resume about being a lawyer, managing lawyer. He didn't manage no lawyers reported to him at all and shit. It was just like Sean Donahue, bro. If you're doing a video of a montage of DEI hires, this motherfucker is like, look up DEI hire in the dictionary, and his picture should be there, bro.
Okay, I'll definitely add him to the mix because I was just focusing on Sean Hexeth, Lyndon McMahon, and RFK Jr.
Oh, Sean Hexeth is another one. That's Oh my God, bro. I'm gonna put this link to Sean Donahue's his confirmation hearing in I guess I'm gonna send it to you in Messenger because I can't do this shit from in the chat.
Okay. Stephanie said, and the very people who had a fighting chance to intercede in some kind of way were all banned from having access to classified files. This is like a geriatric version of the romper room. And the crazy thing is, if we see it, the rest of the world sees it, and they're gonna feel like we are at a weak point, and somebody's gonna try to pierce that because they feel like we're at a weak point as a country with the stuff that they're doing and how much of a joke that we look. You know what I mean?
Hey, you know what somebody else brought up to me, we were talking about this shit the other day, and keeping with what you're saying, is that with the amount of people that have been laid off, the way that they've just had the carpet jerked out from under them and shit, and their entire lifestyles and livelihoods have gotten fucked up, it makes the country a sitting target for espionage. For countries that want to approach, somebody to turn over government secrets and shit like that. You got tens of thousands of disgruntled employees, you know what I mean, who are unjustly fired and laid off and fuck their whole livelihoods up. So the chances of 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 people saying, hell yeah, man, I got the password or whatever, is like it increases big time, because some of these spies in the past weren't even disgruntled employees. They still worked at these places and were like giving up shit. So a motherfucker who was unjustly fired is a perfect candidate. So I thought that was a stark thought in this whole situation and shit. And I wonder, has the government even thought about that shit?
No. And I say that in all earnest because I think I think this administration really, like I said, the last time Trump had some old school Republicans around him who at least could put like some guardrails up.
Yeah.
This time there's no Mike Pence. There's no Christie. None of those guys that are like real Republicans to be like, this is how the government runs, this is how we do it. And that would say, hey, we can't do that. None of them are there. Now he got a bunch of sickle fans who like, yeah, do it. Oh, you want a third term? Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing is sacred to them, because if you would let him say he gonna run for third term, you don't care about the Constitution.
Right.
Don't give me this, I care about the Constitution bullshit when you trying to let this man run for a third term.
Also the fact that they're not even listening to the judges. And
right.
They're like, we're not doing that.
Yeah, like we ain't gotta do that shit.
And they moved to remove them. Any judge that doesn't give a favorable decision for them.
Yeah. And making hype videos in El Salvadorian jails, that shit is crazy. Like posting trailers like it's a movie. You know what I'm saying? Stephanie said, but they don't even have to turn over government secrets. The fact that these former employees have the knowledge and know how to be able to do so much damage are being recruited to be employed by other countries and private sectors who could potentially annihilate us. Exactly. That's why I say, like, there's a lot of things that's going to make us vulnerable to attack in many ways, though, like physical attacks, cyber attacks,
Yeah. Locations of military resources, all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like the country is going to be very vulnerable right now, and I just don't know what it's going to look like in 4 years if this continues. You know what I mean? Because like we're only in the beginning. Like we ain't even really like over 100 days in, and this dude is like, we've had stuff that probably would happen once in a lifetime has happened. A bunch of once in a lifetime things have happened already.
It's like every single week I'm like, how can it get worse? And
Well, I
next
think
week,
when it really comes home to roost that the international alliances are being lost at the rate that they are, and they're actually in response to the U.S. policies, they're circling the wagons amongst themselves and making plans that don't include the
yeah,
U.S. and shit is very telltale. It's very early on now, but I did read today that that the European countries are now talking about positioning themselves to make their own munitions and shit, and not buy weapons and shit from the U.S. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's a humongous
loss. That's like 900 billion that's
yeah,
lost.
it's
It's like
a major income stream.
all the stuff in which we were kind of exporting or importing and whatnot. They're now going through Brazil. China's now stepping in, saying since America won't do that, then we'll take over the part. So China, South America, some of the other European countries are actually benefiting from his stupidity.
Right, and they don't have to come back. Like once he was like, "Oh, you know what? I was tripping. Let's don't break up. Let's get back together." The
And that's
motherfuckers would be like, "Nah, we cool, bro."
and that's another thing that's making us vulnerable too, right? Like, so not only do we have all these openings to get our secrets and all that, we also are beefing with our closest allies that will
That's what
protect
I'm
us.
saying.
You know
That's
what I
what I'm
mean?
Mhm.
Like,
and our main border allies,
yeah.
Canada and Mexico. Like
So they're like, oh, y'all want to
motherfuckers be
get in?
like, "All
China,
right,
y'all want to get in?
yeah." It's
But
like
then, but then
having
that's the
a watchdog that leads the burglars to all your shit in the house and shit. Mexico and Canada could be like, I think that fence is broken right over there, Russia. So
Let
sneak
me,
right on in.
let me read this comment from Tamara, always gracious. They all interested in lining their pockets at the cost of the American people. Yeah, this is, like I said, this is Ocean's 11. It's Trump's Ocean's Trump or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they like running a heist, and we can see it though. We literally watched it on TV. They're
Yeah,
not even trying to hide it. Willie said, them Republicans not gonna let that happen. They said it opens the door for Barack to run again. From what I say on Meet the Press, a Republican from Bush administration said it opens the door for Obama, and they don't want that. If they say you run for third term and Obama come back, he might just have a heart attack.
Obama would get killed, nigga. That's what would happen.
This is the reason that they have a bunch of inexperienced, incompetent people that Trump hired. I agree 100%, and that's what I say. It's like, and then not only that, then you have Elon Musk over here, like driving people crazy, and he's making like it's funny. He's uniting the country in another way. Like he's basically uniting the country with everybody, Republicans, Democrats, immigrants, like everybody's hating that dude.
Yeah,
Right now. And like you said, V-Ray, I think Elon is one of the reasons that judge in Wisconsin lost.
yeah,
Because I think that was a repudiation against him.
I agree, and and especially in that he thinks his money can just buy like everything. This nigga wilding out, throwing what was it,
$1 million.
$249 million behind the election. Tried to manipulate the election in I forget what city that was. During the actual election, he was paying people $100 to register to vote and shit. Like right at the last minute, a couple of days before the election and shit. And then this time around, gave away $2 million grand prizes and $100 for every person that would sign a petition against radical judges or some bullshit. They name it like. So I think that him just thinking that money can buy everybody and everything. I think it is a swipe back at that, and should thank God, because if that started trending, bro, nationwide, that would be fucked up. Because what did he spend, like 70 million in Wisconsin?
Yeah, so that wouldn't be enough for him to do in every state,
right?
And not put a dent. And and like you said, I think this was like his trial run to see if I could do this in every election. If I could throw money behind it, this would be my trial run to basically take over the courts, take over Congress and the House. Willie said everybody hates Elon right now. His approval rating is worse than Trump's, and Trump's approval rating is bad right now. You know what I mean?
Which is
I
why
read today that they've been quietly discussing putting Elon out to pasture. Of course, once that started circulating, the White House came forward and said, of course, they're not discussing that. But
the thing is, they can't, because they need that scapegoat.
They don't need him, man.
No,
His shit is bought and paid for.
No,
That's what it is.
but you
Because
remember,
huh?
but remember who you're dealing with. Trump and his ego. He would
But
rather
I'm just
have
saying that.
someone that is there that the American public hates more than him.
Well, I mean that what by saying they don't need him, I mean that he still has a Republican House and Senate in his back pocket. So these same things could have been done through the court. I mean, not through the courts, but through regular legislative bodies and shit. Or he just fucking executive order niggas to death with some of that shit. I mean, some of those things he can't even do anyway. Even though Elon Musk is putting out some of these edicts, they still have to be run through the House and Senate. You know what I'm saying? They have to. Some of those people can't. Some of those branches or whatever can't be. They can't be dissolved without a congressional vote. You know what I mean? So there's some things that could be done, but I don't think they need him. He's just the face of the bad guy right now.
Right.
He's a scapegoat for sure in that sense. But if the 75% of this treachery shit could be done without him.
Yeah.
Tamar said it didn't work in Wisconsin, thankfully. So now someone sits on the Supreme Court that can test the Republicans' BS. And I'm glad you said that, Tamar, because they said the reason this was such a big deal, the Republicans were trying to use this to gerrymander, to try to gerrymander the lines to change it to where Republicans could win again. So this was a really big deal because now it stops the gerrymandering, so it won't turn back into a red state, or they won't be able to manipulate it. So that's big too for upcoming elections. Stephanie said the problem though is Mars Elon has bought and paid for his access, and they have to allow him to continue to fulfill whatever it is he paid for, and they're gonna have to owe him money or owe him in a different type of way that's not going to be good for us. And with all the access that he has had, he can screw a lot of them, and they don't want information being released. Yeah, I think it's one of them situations where it's like mutually assured destruction between all of them because they in too deep. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's even a bigger conflict of interest because the simple fact that he has access to all these secrets, but at the same time he does business with all these other countries.
Well, he's also just enriching himself from the contract he's trying to drive policy over, like all the shit that he does that SpaceX benefits from.
Well, I see your background, Mars. You have Cory Booker, who broke the record of racist ass Strom Thurmond yesterday, and Strom Thurmond broke the record filibustering because he was trying to stop the Civil Rights Act from passing. He was trying to stop black folks from getting right. So it's only poetic and a little fitting. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the irony is that Strom also had a love of chocolate.
Always
in his private life.
Always. Well, since you have him in your background, tell me, give me some of your thoughts.
I'm happy. You want to know something? I think we may have touched on this a few weeks ago where we were questioning, what's going on with Cory Booker because he's been quiet as of late. His move and everything, brilliant. I love the fact that he tied it in with John Lewis, but the simple fact that he touched on everything, and he allowed it to be sound bites for national media, independent media to pick and choose what it is that they wanted to more or less report on, what they wanted to discuss with their audience member. The same time is that his approach was directly to the people where it was so simplified that a child can understand what's going on. It was brilliant. I have no qualms with it. I have no qualms with the length of the matter. I wasn't even thinking about, the record or the breaking of the record. It was more the fact that finally it was someone outside of AOC, Bernie, that is actually speaking and taking the stage and saying, this is what's going on. This is what we're trying to do.
Let me ask y'all both, Mars and V Ray. Do you think this actually will change the fortunes of the way that Cory Booker is looked at in regards to party leadership now?
I
No.
think you got some cool points on that for sure.
Yeah, I think it made it. He got the cool points, but as far as the change in leadership, not necessarily, because there's still. He spoke also the fact that he's saying the American people want us to fight. I don't necessarily know if he's the fighter per se, but there's a young lady in, was it Michigan? Michigan. Can't remember her name. That she's just entered the race. And she was speaking to all the ill and the issues that the Republicans have been doing. And she more or less was laying out what it is that she's trying to do. Let me see if I can find her name.
Well, yeah, I like you said, I think it earned him some cool points, but I seen on different shows like The View, Meet the Press, and all that. They was talking about this is what Democratic leadership should look like. Do you think he was utilizing this to kind of try to make a move?
Well, I think if he did it strategically and did it in a firm way and not like how the Democrats have been perceived as pushovers a lot. Like, I think if he'd used this as a springboard, this thing he just did, and not what he's done historically, because a lot of that was rhetorical shit sometimes.
Right.
If he moved forward as a no nonsense Democrat, if he turned into the male Jasmine Crockett,
Right.
he might. You know what I mean? He might. That it could be a pathway for him. But sometimes he kind of has historically seemed to be a bit of a people pleaser. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I think this seems like such an abrupt, a stark change for him. So if he keeps it up, yeah. If it was just a one-time thing, it was for the gram, and that's about it.
Tamara, that's a great comment. She said he also publicly took accountability for the Democrats, and the public could appreciate it. It was pretty honorable. Yeah. And it's the first time you feel like, because a lot of Democrats be trying to hide, like, we ain't do nothing wrong. There's some small things. And he basically like, yeah, we've been trash for a minute. We need to figure this shit out. Like, we've been trash. And I'm glad he did that. And I think that was, you right, Tamara, that was a really big deal, I think. And I think that's gonna go far in regards to what we're even talking about party leadership. Because like you said, Ray, we need some more boldness. And I think people are over Chuck Schumer, people are over Nancy Pelosi, people are over Maxine Waters, like all of the old guard. You know what I mean? Like, I think we need to see some new voices emerge. Even though Cory ain't really new, he's younger than them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you need to see some new voices emerge that are really gonna. Because right now, I think nobody knows what the Democrat platform is. They so all over the place. Nobody knows what matters to them. Nobody knows what they're going after. You know what I mean? And they haven't set a good agenda. They still, even since the presidential loss, y'all should have been setting a new agenda. This is what we're going after. This is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to fix. And I think the Democrats have done a horrible job of setting their agenda. And, in my opinion. And they still haven't set an agenda. So I think whoever is going to be the voice of, the Republicans, that's who we need to like talk about. Who is Michigan lawmaker Mallory McMorrow? Rob.
She's the one that's entering the Senate race for 2026, and she, I think it was yesterday or whatnot, she broke down to a T the issue with the Democratic Party and the direction in which it needs to go. If you get a chance, look her up. Look up her last interview.
Okay.
Like she hit the nail on the head, and she's in the form of AOC. She's gonna make some noise.
Willie said agreed. They need new blood, a youth movement, to be honest. Yeah, because if the Democrats are to win again, they need to start to be truly progressive. And people like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, they not really progressive. They okay with incremental movement. You know what I mean? Because we all know how they all play the stocks. They all get rich off of this, the stock market and all that. So it behooves them to kind of move not super progressive to change all the laws of people being able to, get that dirty money from lobbyists and all that. Like AOC and all the younger ones, like, we don't want people to be able to buy elections and buy influence like that. But the older ones, they benefited from it for so long and so much. They don't want to change that. So I agree with you 100%, Willie. There needs to be a new movement of youth. You know what I'm saying? Like there needs to be a new, and and the crazy thing in politics, a youth movement is like 35 and up, 45 and 45. You know what I'm saying? That's the youth movement in politics, but that's what it needs to be, because you could tell Chuck Schumer's out of touch, and I think he's lost the party too. Like he lost. I think after the government shut down, he's kind of lost.
Yeah.
He's kind of lost the party.
Yeah, especially voting the way he voted. Yeah, that was the last straw. I'm pretty sure. But I'll tell you a couple of things that I do like. That seems like it could be groundwork, kind of like Cory Booker's thing for a redefining of the Democratic Party. Is they've been showing up to those town halls that the Republicans won't appear at, going to the Republican states, to the Republican town halls, and having conversations with the Republican voters about what's going on.
Yeah,
shit like that. And as long as they do it right, not necessarily go there to trash the representative from that area, but just to let the audience feel heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is a good strategy this early on, because I mean 3 years and 10 months from now, that shit won't carry the same weight saying bad shit about the actual public. Republican.
Like they need to come in. They need to come in and say, "We here to meet the people's needs. What y'all want?"
Yeah,
that's what it should be. Like what the people need. Republican, Democrat, don't matter. We want to know what the people need, and we here to serve that.
And
if you
have attack those midterms with that, from now up to midterms, use that strategy to lead in. And I think that's one piece of the puzzle. But I just think that's a cool sage move if they set themselves up to benefit from it correctly, and it's not just a one-off. They need like a promotional campaign, like an advertising campaign for a record or a brand. Whatever they're doing now, they need to stay on message, to stay on task, and branch out from these seeds that they're planting right now.
Yeah, Stephanie said they also need to be more vigilant. They have gotten way past being a passive aggressive. They're pretending like they're fighting, but I'd even go as far to say that they need to get a bit militant. Well, the issue is, and I forgot who I heard say this, the issue is the Democrats are always trying to play by this old rule book of decorum, when the other side didn't threw that book out a long time ago and said, fuck that, we on some Mad Max shit, and y'all still sitting here trying to be civilized and sit at the table and have conversations, and that's not what they on. So I think when people, it's funny, like when not AOC, but when Jasmine Crockett start cussing people out, they be like, oh, she's not being ladylike and all that. Like no, she's trying to meet them with their same energy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like she's meeting with the same energy, and the things she say, y'all don't say nothing about the other side when they say wild shit. Like when she said she called the dude in Texas Hot Wheels who's in the wheelchair, but they said, but everybody from Texas said everybody in Texas calls them Hot Wheels. That's not like something she made up.
Right.
She was like, they all call them Hot Wheels in Texas, but even that, like everybody was all up in arms, and the Republicans, they like, dude, Trump has made fun of so many people with disabilities. You know what I'm saying? But they was all, clutching their pearls and all that, and then, but what pisses me off is when the Republicans start clutching their pearls, then you start getting them Democrats with them. Yeah, I'm with them. She shouldn't talk like that. I'm like, y'all some hoes. Like y'all supposed to back her play. You know what I mean?
Right. Fuck that reaching across the aisle shit.
Yeah, because they not reaching. That's not what they trying to do. Willie said, yeah, Kamala's running mate. I for Tim Walls. He said he's holding town halls in red states on a weekly. Tamara said the only way to handle a bully is to become the bully. Yeah, and I think the Democrats haven't figured that out yet.
Well, I think there's some members that have figured it out, because speaking on the town hall, they're seeing the impact of the town hall. And I know that, this evening, Hakeem Jeffries had his own little community town hall, which I jumped into. And one of the things in which he said is that he's now going to expand it and go into areas where it is deeply red within the city. So I think
that's a good strategy. They still need to communicate to the blue, of course, that they're heard and seen and take responsibility for their fuck ups on the blue side. But I think reaching out to the red side is definitely a strategy, especially now where people are being hurt the way that they are by these policy changes and shit.
Well, I think I think they no longer have a choice, but they must do that because you're seeing what is going on with Bernie, AOC. God, there was somebody else that was also doing it, and you're seeing the impact.
There was it Pete Buttigieg? I forgot who it was, but two guys showed up at one. I saw some footage from this one. I don't know if it was Virginia or where it was, but it was a known national politician like a Pete and someone else. I think that was more local or state or something like that.
No, I think it was Virginia because Virginia is a very heavily military area population demographics there. So I think it was Virginia.
Yeah, I saw them when they arrived, and they arrived to a fucking standing ovation too. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's some wiggle room to get in there with the right conversation.
But like you said, Ray, they just got to make the right play, stay on message. Yeah. They got to make, go ahead, Mars.
But here's the thing, remember what we said a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago. The messaging with the Democrats is that they were trying to please everyone. They were trying to please the LGBT, alphabet folks and whatnot, and it was just over the top. Now to the fact, the message has been simplified. Medicare, Social Security, Department of Education. These are all things in which everyone can relate to.
It's simple. It's simple. The things that American people, red and blue, need and care about. Red and blue care about, like you said, healthcare. They care about their Medicaid. They care about not paying a bunch of money for their medicine. They care about the Department of Education because a lot of those, killing Department of Education kills a lot of those grants and scholarships that goes to not just black kids, but just lower income folks across the country, period. So there's things that they can unify everybody on. And like you said, y'all have to get off of this bully pit about the LGBTQ community because that's not what the vast majority of American people gonna care about in regards to voting. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like y'all riding for trans is not gonna make middle America vote for Democrats. It's just not. You know what I mean? So I agree with you 100%. Like the things that are concrete that matter, like you said, Medicare and all those things, like those are the things they need to focus on, and that needs to be the messaging. Period. All that other identity politics bull, they need to cut it out. That's not going to win for y'all. Y'all seen that's going to get you killed.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it is like all these changes that quote unquote they're pushing, it deeply impacts these red states. Like exactly. it fucks up the red state, and these motherfuckers don't understand it.
Yeah, you got a bunch of people in the red states voting against their own self-interest. And I think they've just now figuring out, you know what I mean, that they were voting against their own self-interest and they seeing things actually affecting them. You know what I mean? Like a lot of those people who were, voting for Trump were federal workers and veterans.
Yeah.
And they've been killing federal workers and veterans. So what do? You go tell them, veterans, we'll get y'all job back. We'll put woo back into place. When we get back in power, we putting this back. You know what I mean? Like, because you talking about what, almost 80,000 people who lost their jobs, veterans only. That's not even talking about the other folks who lost their jobs. But they said specifically 80,000 veterans. Tamara said, right, the messaging should also be about Doge or screw. Yeah, thank you. Exactly. We're on the same page. We're on the same page. Like there's very simple messaging that could get people to ride with you. Mm-hmm. The Democrats just have to stop trying to please everybody and go a little more streamlined down the middle with the things that most of Americans care about. Not these niche things that they were trying to get people to care about. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna get you the votes. It's not a good strategy.
Another thing that I think would be a good strategy if it's done right now. I haven't thought about this for more than 30 seconds, but redefining, how they'll take like the Republicans will take something that has some merit, the definition or a term like woke or like DEI, and should redefine it and give it a negative connotation. I think in the sense of DEI that the people that voted against that from a racial standpoint and shit that didn't realize that they are some of the bigger beneficiaries of those policies redefine that shit in those meetings and say, when you hear the term DEI, people have a negative reaction to that shit, not knowing that that umbrella that DEI provides includes, covers you too. So, white female business owner or whoever the fuck the demographic was that got impacted and they lost a lot of grants and shit like that. You, whether you know it or not, are DEI. So and so over here, you're DEI. So when you hear those terms, and you get manipulated by the into a knee jerk reaction and think that it's on a racial basis only. You have to educate yourself that these things affected you. I won't say that's why y'all in this position y'all in now, kind of shit. But the fact that you don't educate yourself on these types of terms, here's what they mean and this how it affects you. So we're all in this kind of shit together. It's basically the underlying message I think will be effective if it's presented right. If you say it like I just said it, a fucking fist fight might break out. But I'm just saying that it could be one of the bricks in the platform.
And more to your point, V-Ray, somebody said too, stop saying DEI. When Republicans say they don't like DEI, you start asking them straight up. So why are you against diversity, equity, and inclusion? Like, because you have to, you know what I mean? Because when you say DEI, it feels like a throwaway, but you have to make them like, okay, so you're versus diversity, equity, and inclusion. Tell me why you're against diversity. You know what I mean? Like, because then it puts the onus on them more than when you just say DEI or critical race theory or woke, because you throw all these things on an umbrella and you're not really actually talking about the thing, which is black folks. You know what I mean?
That's the thing that
you know what I mean?
100%.
But I think also you kind of have to frame it in a way, diversity, equity, and inclusion, but the programs that are doing it, the impact of parental leave, which falls under the DEI.
Yeah.
But those programs specifically that people are not aware of, connect the dots, and you're like, oh, I didn't
That's
know
what I'm
that was
saying.
gone.
That's
Right.
the part that I think drives home. One, it kind of in a backhanded way holds the mirror up to people that chose to vote, against their own interests, unknowingly because they were too busy being racist to, you know what I'm saying, realize that they were shooting their own foot. But yeah, I think that educational part of that whole conversation is to say that this shit is you too. Like we were talking a few weeks back about how black people were the least in the list of people that benefited from DEI. I think we were number 6 out of 6 and shit. And white women was number 1, and then I forget who was number 2 and that kind of shit like that. But it's like, if you break out that graphic and back it up with facts, you know what I'm saying, and not be preachy about the shit. It's an eye opener, man. I mean, people are on the FAFO, method right now of the shit, but having that real talk conversation and taking it out of a racial context, I think is a key in a lot of these positions that the Republicans have adopted and taught and spit out to the people through social media and shit like that.
100%. Stephanie said apparently none of them came up in the era where they learned that you're not going to be able to please everybody. No matter what you do, there are going to be someone or people who are not going to like what you're doing. So just keep focused on what the main goal is, and either they're going to fall in line or they're not. Tamara said it's really DEIA. They specifically left off the access part for special needs, and that's not right. I don't disagree with that at all. V-Ray, real talk. I know the Dems can't really push it, but I feel they should do a Republican move and slide a FAFO reference in the speech. Veterans were too. Yeah, like I said, V-Ray, again to your point, because I'm preaching to the choir right now. There are things that they can do and focus on. Like you said, if they brand it right, they should be able to kill in the midterms. But we know the Democrats know how to fumble at the 1 yard line like the Seahawks without Marshawn Lynch getting the ball in the Super Bowl.
Right. And I won't belabor the point, but another thing that I think would benefit them, instead of like getting Beyonce's and these motherfuckers out for their tour, their their conversation tours, their bus tours and shit. Bring motherfuckers like Bill Maher and you know what I'm saying, people that have political insight, that have followings and have a position
Have
and aren't
influence.
afraid to like talk real talk. One of my favorite things about Bill Maher's show is they talk in real language. There, they don't fucking pacify or know that the camera's recording, so they're trying to say cool shit and sound bites and shit like that. Motherfuckers agree and disagree on there. They cuss, they fucking talk shit to each other, call motherfuckers out on their bullshit right there on the stage, kind of thing. I think that brings another element of realism to what it is that you're trying to address, and it's taken more seriously than fucking what's her name? Something red. These rappers and shit coming out there and are having Kendrick Lamar. Well, Kendrick Lamar might be a good option, but you know what I'm saying? Fuck all the music performances and shit, and have people that are talking real policy shit. And so anyway, that was my thought, because there's a few political shows that I tune into that I think are cool like that. But instead of going on those shows and appearing, which ain't bad either, take those conversations out on the road.
And like you saying, like do like a Bill Maher form at the rally, like have those people sitting up on stage having that conversation,
right, and taking questions from the audience, and people get up and say their piece. And
they got to figure out something to do to reconnect, because right now there's no connectivity between the Democrats and the people. There's no connectivity, so they'd have to figure out something to reconnect. All right, let's get into our next topic, man. I want to know y'all thoughts on Marvin Sapp. Was taking offering. He told the nurses to close the door. Hold on, let me read this before we get out of there. Stephanie said, I actually just received a call on Monday asking for me to be a speaker at a roundtable that involves 300 law firms to discuss how they can improve diversity and inclusion for people with disabilities within the corporations and at their own law firms. There are some people who have actually gotten an eye-opener since the uproar of DEI has surfaced. They're starting to realize how many people are being affected by the decision that this country's leaders are making. Well, maybe that's one good thing that comes out of it. All right, so Marvin Sapp told the usher to close the door. He was trying to raise $40,000. He said, he can get $20,000 in the house and get $20,000 online from the amount of people watching. A lot of people was in an uproar, but I was raised in the church, and that ain't the first time I saw it. But I think it brings up a good conversation of, should churches do that? Should churches close the door and try to force people to give after they done gave already? You know what I mean? Like trying to suck a. My granddaddy was a preacher. My granddaddy hated that. Like sometimes they be like, we need $100 more. My granddaddy get up and like, here, let's go. Like that's enough of this. Like, you know what I mean? But tell me your thoughts on it, V-Ray.
Well, I was raised in the church too, man. I always despised that kind of God will be mad if you don't kind of holding people hostage and the rhetoric that surrounded it. So I thought that was in poor taste, man. Anytime they do stuff like that, because it ends up putting the emphasis on the money instead of what people are supposedly coming together for. If God will make a way, and then he'll make a way for that 40 grand. You know what I'm saying? If you truly believe that he's working in the ways that you preach at people that he works like, he ain't gonna let his house get shut down. Basically, my own personal opinion. But so I don't know. I thought that was just in poor taste, and it's not uncommon, but it's just still just a bad thing to me. And I used to tour with a gospel group when I was coming up, man. So I saw a lot of the behind the curtains, the shit where the beefs about the money and shit like that between the pastor and the people in his administration at the church and us as artists touring and trying to get our money and shit like that. So it just kind of colored that whole situation for me. But I just think, if it's about God, it's about God. If it's about money, it's about money. You know what I'm saying? But I just think trying to use that leverage to get money out of people, that's just an up and coming televangelist, nigga with the jet and all that shit waiting to happen. So That's my bad.
Stephanie said the only thing that was standard procedure in that regard is the fact that they will close the doors and the ushers will monitor the doors while offering has been taken. But actually locking the doors, that is not standard procedure for offering or fundraiser. There are churches who have actually locked and chained the door and told people they will not leave until their goal has been met. That is holding people hostage. That is illegal. And you know what, Stephanie? Also, too, I understand, like, you know, they always just say close the doors for people who don't go to church. 'Cause I know a lot of people who don't go to church didn't understand what was going on, too. For the people who went to church, you know, they say close the door because sometimes, you know, people will come in, try to rob the church while offering was going on. So they would make sure the ushers was at the door and you can't come in or out. I get that. But I think in this particular instance, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you see it a different way, I think the way he said close the doors, almost as if like, I ain't getting what I want, close the doors. Now we gotta, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
I think that piece of it is what made it feel different. Tamara said this way of thinking or doing things is one of the reasons that many turn away from the churches. We have to do better. Shannon said, I think the Marvin Sapp clip was taken slightly out of context. I know someone who was actually there. Well, tell me what other context we missed, because like I said, I've been to church and I've seen pastors do that. I think the only thing that was taken out of context is he said close the doors. He never said lock the doors. And like I said, I understand that, but I think it was the way he said close the doors was almost like he was about to punk niggas because he didn't get bread. Like, it's not always about what you do; it's about how you do it sometimes too. Because I've seen people raise money with smooth talking like a pimp.
Yeah, but dang,
and you know, if it wasn't money that, I'm sorry, Rob, go ahead.
No, but he had a specific amount in mind.
You know, I compared it at that moment, and of course I always say some crash shit, but it's like if you on a date, ladies, and a motherfucker's like, you got to give me some pussy. It's like I kissed you, and like, what? We gonna save it for another day, and he like lock the door. You can't get out until you give it up, and it's like that's wrong. I mean, that's clearly wrong. So it's kind of right. I put it in parallel to something like that. Like, you're gonna make me do something against my will. You know, you don't know what them people's situation are, you know, financially in their own individual lives. Because some people give it because it's asked of them, you know, in the Bible, like tithing and stuff like that, and they may really not have it. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know what the situation is, just to say, damn it, we got 5,000, we need 40,000, or however much they already raised. And it's like every before we leave, we gonna do this. It's like,
and that's what I never liked about it. Is like, you basically trying to shame people into giving money, and then like they're trying to shame people. And I'm not talking about just Marvin. I'm talking about when churches do this. Period. Like, you know, they used to do the $1 line, the $5 line, the $10 line, and then they be talking shit about the niggas in the $1 line. These people, like, they probably like this probably last little dollar. You know what I mean? Like,
the whole scholastic book club.
There are certain parts of service that are supposed to be sacred, i.e. prayer, communion, offering. These are the times where people are not supposed to walk. Additionally, I think he has since apologized for the tone he had. Yeah, he did. He apologized.
He did,
yeah. And that's what I said. Like I said, I don't think it was just what he did, Shannon. That's what I was saying. Like, I get the context because I've been through it. I think it was how he did it and how he said it. Like I said, it almost felt like, you know, he was trying to punk the folks. And again, like you said, like you got this specific amount. What if that specific amount ain't out there? Right. What if these people don't have 40,000 to give today? You know what I mean? I know. So Tamara said, I know someone who stopped attending a specific church because they were told they couldn't go to the restroom until after offering was collected. They were offended and felt impressed. Yeah, some of these churches be wild, yo. Yeah. Some of these churches, they really do be wild. Like, I've seen something, like I said, I've been to a lot of different churches, a lot of different denominations, and how they do things different, from Baptist to Church of God in Christ to Catholic, you know, and all that. And it's like, there's, you know, that was a major convention and the goal had to be met. I mean, I get it, but like I said, and if you're gonna have it out in public, because like we know this happens all the time, Shannon, but if you're gonna have that joint going out to public, then you got to do a better job of the presentation, because it makes the church look crazy.
Yeah, especially in these days and times. Like I think Shannon said that people have been shying away from the church for less than that. You know what I'm saying? Ideology stuff. the identity politics within the church as far as gay and and all that shit like that. So people are moving away for a number of reasons, and then that kind of thing can just be another chip in the armor.
Not excusing the behavior or church hurt that it might have caused, just offering another viewpoint. No, I get it, Shannon. Like I said, I'm one of the people who understand 100% what was happening, what was going on, but I also understand 100% why it would turn people off, and I also understand 100% why it could look crazy. When I was growing up, we didn't have all these rules, and we survived. Yeah, man. And you know what? And I think the other thing is, I think when, like how Shannon said, it's sacred, but it's not in the Bible. But sometimes they preach stuff as if it's in the Bible, and I think that's where people get a little turned off. Like, yes, it's sacred, and the usual thing is you don't walk around doing offering, you don't walk around doing prayer, right?
Yeah.
But also, that's not something in the Bible. It's not like you're sinning if you walk around. You know what I mean? That's like, those are rules people made. It ain't sacred because it's like something in the Bible that made it sacred. It's sacred because this is just something that's been passed down to us for years and years, because we've seen preachers doing it. Like, I'm sure Marvin Sapp got that from somebody else. I'm sure that came from, because we, like me and Willie, my cousin, we've seen it all. And we've seen all those kind of ways of taking offering. And like I said, we would be at my biggest gripe about second service is how they be trying to bleed the congregation. Like, they'll pass the basket around 3 times, like, we need $100 more. And I'm like, you got a church full of people in the hood who then gave probably in the first service, and now we in the second service, and they giving for the second service, but you just gonna keep. And my granddad, he wasn't with that. Yeah, i.e. certain big church on Slauson and Western back in the day that was notorious for locking the doors with a famous pastor and choir.
Who was that?
Down Cleveland, James Cleveland.
Oh, James Cleveland,
yeah. Stephanie, and I'm going to say it, for many black churches to be churches that mostly go for 2 and 3 hours at a darn time and tell people they ain't going nowhere until the church to get the money they reaching for is asinine. You go to other churches and they are in and out within an hour. What is the real purpose in our culture to really hold church service for that freaking long? You got to hold. That's a whole nother conversation right there.
Well, the black church got the music program that a lot of other churches don't have.
Yeah.
So they could be like A, B, and C selections and shit.
Right.
And it should be jamming, you know what I'm saying? So before you know it, oh, damn, it's 3:30.
Prayer, yes. Offering, not so sure. And I think she's referring to when we're talking about sacred times.
Yeah.
Giving to God should always be a sacred time. Offering in the Old Testament was very similar. That's true, but Shannon, it also changed in the New Testament. That what they said in the Old Testament, it changed to like the cheerful giving and all that. It changed in the New Testament, so it wasn't the same sacred time because it was changed in the New Testament. I at least know that. Stephanie said it's one thing to say things are supposed to be sacred, but you got churches that have people walking around with weapons.
Walking around in their club clothes and shit.
Right. But yeah, so like I said, I didn't like. Well, first of all, black folks, we don't take shit serious. So when something hit the internet, the jokes is coming. The jokes. But I didn't like the people who I think were trying to say something against Marvin Sapp's heart as a pastor, because I don't think what he did was about his heart. I think it was about, like we said, V-Ray, what's been passed down, what we've seen in churches, and him doing what has been known. So I don't think it was about his heart, as more it was about procedural and how the procedure could have been better.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Packaged a little better.
Yeah, it could have been packaged a little better, and that's the part I didn't agree with. They were like, "Oh, he just agreed, he passed it." I'm like, nah, he kind of been in the game too long to give him that after this one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think we tend to be too hard on people after like one thing, one event. So I was like, I don't think that's what it was, but it didn't look good. And he came back and he explained himself and he apologized too, and that's all you can ask for. That's the least you can do.
Yeah, especially a man of God,
Yeah, still a man of God. Let's talk about your man KKYE West. Kanye West did an interview with academics where he opened the door with a Sean John t-shirt and a swastika, diamond swastika around his neck, and then proceeded to change into his interview attire, which was a black KKK robe and black KKK head cover. At this point, What is
Delete,
that? What
delete,
what what is the
just
point?
just delete all his music. Just delete all the music. Just delete it.
Like, what is his point? Like, what is he trying to do at this point? What is his goal? And
Attention.
I think so. That's what I think.
I think it's but what attention does he think he's gonna get with this? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, what is the end game for trying to get this much negative attention? Talking about Jay-Z kids, saying F Jay-Z, saying he's jealous of Kendrick and he mad at Kendrick and Drake, basically because he didn't get the attention he thought he should get during that battle, and he's not being mentioned as the number one guy anymore, right? But what do you think? Like, how does he think this is gonna play? That's my question. You know what I mean? How does he think
Yeah.
that this is gonna play? Like, what? You know how you do a strategy where you like, I'm gonna do a stunt, a publicity stunt. You try to
Yeah.
see your publicity stunt out to the end, right? You try to see it out to this is gonna happen and it's gonna lead to this. What is this supposed to lead to?
To be honest with you, I don't think we can even come close to even trying to reason with it. Because at the end of the day, this is a person that has his wife walking around butt ass naked, walks around in either barefoot, a mask. Like there, he's addicted to attention. Whether it's good attention, bad attention, good publicity, bad publicity. He just needs to be the focus of people's attention.
Shannon said his ego has been bruised by Kendrick's success and his music isn't as good as it used to be. Stephanie said because of his mental illness, I don't think there is a goal. I think for him, it's any attention is good attention. As long as somebody's paying attention to him, he's good. Almost like for an individual who deals with abandonment issues. And Tamara said, my mind is spinning just thinking about this nonsense. That's how it was when I first watched it, Tamara. I was like, I was appalled. When Donde West died and no one was there to slap Kanye upside the head, straighten them up. You know how grandmothers used to do back in the day. Yeah, and
Well,
then even him talking about he never wanted to have kids with Kim Kardashian. I'm like, what is the goal? And why would you say that shit? And your kids gonna hear this one day.
to me, dude is well, initially anyway. I think definitely his mental illness is like, telling him to keep going and keep that energy and just wild out even more. But it used to be a time when this nigga could say some controversial or some wild shit and parlay that negative publicity into something like snatching the mic from old girl at the award show or just doing some crazy shit that didn't affect his relevance or maybe contributed to it at the times when he was doing it. Now this nigga's trying that shit. He's pretty much not really passe, but he's not central to hip hop as he once was and shit. So trying to do outlandish shit and say outlandish things to try to turn the camera back toward him. That's what I took it as when he started saying and doing wild shit. And even when he did the swastika t-shirt, which was not that long ago, he still seemed like he was just an attention whore. But now the shit that he's saying about, going after motherfuckers that, and you commune with, and everybody's a public figure and shit like that, and saying the shit about his kids and the fucking black Ku Klux Klan. That was premeditated. This nigga had to have that shit ready. You know what I'm saying? This nigga had to have gotten
Had that shit iron. He had somebody iron the KKK costume out.
And it's all black. So you know what I'm saying? That's a conceptual. That's not like he just got a one at the old Klan surplus store and shit. This nigga had to get a black Klan suit made and shit in his size. With all that shit. So it's like that's where I think his mental illness is coming into play. Like you thinking that shit is cool, and not having nobody like was that Willie said to say no, nigga, no, that shit is fucking crazy. Like he don't have those guardrail people around him. Clearly, he's like a Trump kind of personality with yes men around him. Nobody's gonna contradict this nigga. He's rich, you know what I'm saying? So niggas they pay their livelihood sometimes depend on that shit. So this nigga just say some wild shit he want to do, and he does it, and nobody says nothing. He's really damaging himself. Somebody need to get that nigga on a 5150. You know what I'm saying? For real, for a real evaluation, and not one a self-imposed one. You know what I'm saying? And like really see where this nigga's head's at and shit. And That's this. He's beyond the pale now.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Let's get to these comments. Shannon said, his stunts aren't supposed to lead to anything but attention. He is taking the chapter out of the Trump MAGA incel manosphere culture. That's a great point. I don't think he has an illness. He's just a narcissist. He's spiraling, and there was no one in his life to hold him accountable. There's also the MH piece that is not being correctly addressed.
What's
Yes.
MHP?
Mental health.
Oh,
yes, for sure. Trump, well, he said he idolizes Trump. So,
well, there's mental illness right there.
Yeah, he wants to be, and we talked about this too in regard to a lot of black men wanting to be Trump. He's just like the personification of that, right? He's a personification of those black dudes who I like Trump because I like the way he talk. I like Trump because he don't give a fuck. He say what he want. He don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kanye has become the personification of that. And it's sad, man, because he once was a great musician, great producer, not musician, but a great producer, great artist, man. And it's what did Batman say? What did Harvey Dent say, Mars?
You live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And
I think that's the point of where we at with Kanye, right? That's where we are, and it's kind of sad.
And if you sprinkle in a little Drake philosophy with him, if he would just shut the fuck up, go away for a while, and then just focus on music and not try to do all these stunts and shit like that, he would probably come out with another genius record, because I think musically he still has the potential to do shit.
For sure.
This other stuff just gets in the way of that.
Yeah, and then make a video that basically that contains all the elements of Not Like Us.
No,
and name the song
Nokia. Video or somewhere he's not required to be involved with that shit. Just hey Kanye, do you like this? This is cool, huh? No, don't let that nigga do anything except the production and art, his rhymes and shit, and he'll be all right if he would just go away.
Well, I didn't listen to his new album, that's for sure.
Who? Drake's?
No, Kanye's.
Oh,
I didn't listen to Drake's.
The Vultures. Did you listen to the Vultures album?
I listened to it once.
I heard that. Oh, he got an album after Vultures?
Yeah, he has an album out called Bully.
Oh, and that's the one I posted at the end of that interview. They played the video. I couldn't make it to the end of the video, so I didn't make the video. Do you think Kim should trust him around their kids, given the stunts and people he has around them? No.
I think that would be fucking if she wanted to do something on the custody tip with him in court. He's just giving her all kind of fucking ammunition for that shit. A rich, crazy motherfucker could do anything with their children.
Yeah, sadly. And what's sad is I heard he's a really great dad, but when he's doing this, you don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what's scary. It's sad to see him go out bad like this, man. And it's one of the things is there nobody near him saying bro, what are you doing?
Remember, he cut off everything. He cut off everything.
I know, and we knew his original team. Me and Mars, we knew his original team, and none of them guys is around. None of the guys who got him to where he is at this point. None of them guys are around. G and Roberson, none of them dudes is around. So he probably just got a bunch of yes men who ain't nobody gonna tell him, because now everybody know if you say no, he gonna get rid of you, or he gonna say some wild shit to you. So I don't know. It's sad, man.
And like you said, very soon his kids are going to be of age to be able to see his actions and what he said and stuff like that, and evaluate them for himself. So he's leaving a hell of a legacy for his kids to have to survive.
Yeah. It sucks, man. And that's what I was I why would you say that? Even if that's what you felt, why would you say, I never want to have a woman with this, kids with this woman? You know what I'm saying? And the kids is here, bro. They can hear this.
Yeah.
You basically telling the whole world, I regret my kids.
Yeah. That's all the therapy. Somebody's they're gonna send some therapist kids to college like a motherfucker.
Right.
Kids grow up and shit.
Right. Stephanie said if that's the case, they don't need to be on this team. No way, because they're just there for the money. Well, that's what did.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, those kids already have a jacked up legacy from their mother. Tim said, I totally feel sorry for his kids.
Yeah.
Right,
But I think Kim, although I still do have the video, I think she's redeemed herself. You know what I'm saying? Over the years with the empire that she built after all that shit happened.
Right,
You know
right.
So in a sense, that actually did her a favor, honestly.
Yeah.
To, catapult her name out there. So that's terrible. Don't get me wrong, but the amount of time, if she was still doing that now, then like, oh my God, bro, what is she doing, kind of thing. But Kanye shit is the reverse. She started out on top and just kind of plummeted to this person that he is now. It's like there's two Kanyes, like the one that started out, musically in his career and stuff, and was with Kim Kardashian and all that. And then there's a Kanye for after the one that we're experiencing now. Like, is this the same guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get into the Past the Ox before we get out of here. Dang, it's an hour and 15 already. This show feels like it's going fast. Let's get in. She said, didn't she pose nude a few years ago? Yes, she did. I agree, she's good, but Kanye shaking my head.
Yeah.
Past the Ox, as you know, Marvin Gaye was the anniversary of his death yesterday, and then today was his birthday. So we're gonna dedicate the first half of Past the Ox to Marvin Gaye and his legacy. And I often, like, as much as I feel like a lot of people love Marvin Gaye and think he's dope, I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves as like the archetype for the male R&B vocalist all the way down to now, like to the Chris Browns and the Trey Songz of the world. Like, he was the archetype for that kind of sexy R&B male singer that was kind of swagged out. You know what I mean? He was one of the first dudes to get out of a suit and sing in a sweat and sing in a tracksuit with a red beanie. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of changed the way we looked at R&B singers and the way R&B singers presented themselves. And on top of having the classic albums, he's just been iconic in so many different ways and influencing so many generations. What you want to say, Mars?
No, it's like, for me, like, I had to go back. When I was younger, I went back and I was listening to all this stuff. The thing that stood out to me with Marvin Gaye was, again, you're dealing with younger Mars, the I Want You album cover. That to me was the most iconic album cover I've ever seen, and it still resonates with me to this day.
Like you said, to the artwork, to the clothing, to the falsetto, to the subject matter. When you talk about what's going on, trying to do a whack album and still making a classic. He did an album called Here, My Dear, that was supposed to go, all the proceeds from the album was supposed to go to his wife in the divorce. So he tried to make a whack album and it became Here, My Dear, which still was a classic damn album. Like, he was like, I'm gonna try to make a trash album and still had hits. You know what I mean? Like, how good can you be when you try to make trash and you still make a classic album, bro? Like, I'm gonna try to make an ass album so she don't get a bunch of money off of this one, and it didn't work.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. I need his problems.
Right.
Still getting paid.
So what would you say is a couple of your favorite, like, top 5 Marvin Gaye songs, would you say, bro?
Top 5 Marvin Gaye songs. That's a good one. What's Going On Forever iconic. It really is. So top 5 Marvin Gaye songs. I Want You, After the Dance, Sexual Healing, Let's Get It On, and Trouble Man.
Nice.
That's my 5. And I'm sure I missed something that's my favorites, but that's my 5 I'm going with tonight, because it'll probably change if you ask me tomorrow.
Right. How about you, Black Rob?
I got Trouble Man as number 1. What's Going On? It's like, where was it? Because I can hear it in my head. Mercy, mercy me. Is that the title?
Things ain't what they used to be. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
I got
me. That's the
those,
name.
and then I think there was intro for I Want You. Those are the four. I can't that jump out.
Oh, and anybody watching too, I'll give y'all, go look up. So if y'all like Michael Jackson's "I Want to Be Where You Are," there's a Marvin Gaye version of "I Want to Be Where You Are," and it's cold as fuck. Look it up as soon as we get off the show. Don't do it now, but everybody watch as soon as you get off the show. Look up Marvin Gaye's version of the Jackson 5 "I Want to Be Where You Are," and he turned it into a Marvin joint. It got those after the dance "I Want You" vibes. Tamara said all mines, but after the dance is my number one. After the dance is a cold one. That's one of the most pimp records in the history of pimp records. I want you and you want me, so why don't we get together after the dance? People ain't writing records like that. Willie said, "Trouble Man, I Want You, Mercy, Mercy Me, Heard It Through the Grapevine." What's going on? Oh, yeah, his Heard It Through the Grapevine was cold.
Yeah.
His Heard It Through the Grapevine was cold. That's a good list, Willie. Yeah, Mercy, Mercy Me, that's another cold. Mercy, Mercy Me is one of them records that'll put you in the mood. Like when you whoa, you hear that? you about to be in the mood. He about to take you to another place. And you know what?
Brown liquor music.
It's definitely brown liquor music. But you know, I think it's dope because everybody talking about the different records, like his versatility. Like from his sexy records to his conscious records to his love records. And you know, people said he didn't really want to be an R&B, you know, contemporary singer. He really wanted to be a crooner. Like he wanted to make a Frank Sinatra type records, but Motown wouldn't let him. He wanted to be a Frank Sinatra type artist. He wanted to be an old school crooner. And go ahead, V.
Oh, I was just gonna. I was thinking of my five, but go ahead, man. I'll say that shit after your thought.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say. I think when you talk about how influential he is, when you hear people say, "Oh, this is Marvin Gaye type harmonies," you know exactly what they mean. Like, you know, I want to do the Marvin Gaye type. Like the way he did backgrounds is very specific to him. You know, like the way he did his leads, and I wish. I know what's my man name? We talk about him all the time. El DeBarge wrote. What's that record that he wrote for Marvin Gaye?
Oh, what was that?
It was one of his biggest hits.
Was it All This Love?
All This Love. He wrote that for Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
And Motown never gave it to Marvin, and Marvin was mad because when he met L, he was like, "Man, I've been wanting to work with you forever." And he was like, "Bro, I wrote All This Love for you." Could you imagine Marvin on that record? Oh my God. I just wish there was a version. You know how they used to do different versions? I just wish there was a version out there of Marvin Gaye doing All This Love.
Yeah, that would have been dope.
Oh, that would have been cold.
And that actually sounds tailor-made for him when you learn of it after the fact and shit.
Yeah, like
spot on that was for him.
As soon as I heard it, the first thing I thought about was, "As the stars up in the sky, I love you. Please hit." Like, so I was like, "That's all Marvin."
Yeah.
Say that you love me, baby. Oh, that's Marvin. Say that I love me, darling. Oh, like all of that is Marvin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
To be able to pen that is fucking dope. To get to target a singer and get it that right is brilliant. So that's a shot. That's a big kudos to old boy for the pen on that one.
Brilliant. Tamara said the only person that comes close to his voice now is October London. Yeah, and I actually like his album. I think he does a good job of emulating Marvin. I know a lot of people have tried. I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. It was years ago. Tank did a whole album that was like a Marvin Gaye type album, and it never came out. I heard it in the studio. Oh my God, some of the best songs I've ever heard.
Yeah,
it was a Tank album. He was like, "I'm doing a Marvin Gaye thing," and they played me the album, and it was crazy. And the album never came out, dog. I wonder what happened to them songs because like Tank killed it. Like he sounded more like Marvin in October, actually. Like Tank's version, and it was like, this is what's so cold. So it was Tank's version of Marvin Gaye, but like with Timberland beats.
Wow.
Was it remakes of Marvin
No,
stuff or just
no, it
Marvin-esque
was
kind of
new
shit?
song, Marvin-esque.
Yeah. Gotcha. Damn.
It was Marvin-esque, but with like those Timberland and who else had worked on it? Timberland and Polo. I think Timberland and Polo had did most of the album.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it was so cool. I'm like, I can't wait till this shit come out. I was telling everybody, like, yo, Tank got this Marvin Gaye type album coming, and it never came out.
Yeah.
I might have to hit up Jay Valentine to see, like, hey, you got them records? Can you slide them the Marvin Gaye records that he did?
Yeah. That's dope.
I think the only other artist that came close to him from our era was James Ingram. Yeah, hey, James is slept on. James Ingram is slept on.
Yeah. I don't really know many James Ingram songs that blew me away and shit. He may have been, but that probably wasn't exposed to the catalog.
Yeah. You know, he had 100 Ways. He had all the records. Secret
Yeah,
Garden.
the ones with Quincy.
Quincy.
I'm aware
Yeah,
of.
all the Quincy. But that's basically what most of the stuff was. The records, you know, probably the one with Quincy. All right, before we get out of here, too, hey man, the second half of our Pass the Aux is going to Redman. I don't know. I just got hit to it, so I want to talk about it today. Damn it! I didn't know he did a Muddy Waters too.
Yeah, that shit is
you
dope.
know that? Oh,
This
yeah,
album is incredible.
Yeah, it's a good record.
First of all, you know, I think it had like 32, 33 songs on it. So I'm like, 33 songs. I mean, it's gonna get whack in the middle, bro. I listened to that whole album, and it's probably maybe 2 or 3 out of 33 songs that I turn. But it's literally I'll roll around. I'm like, first of all, the consistency of Redman forever. Because Redman is just Redman. He's not trying to be young. He's not trying to change his flow. He's just being Redman.
Yeah.
The production on Muddy Waters 2 is incredible. There's a record he has called A Stand Out. The A record is super dope. Superman Lover 2. Funny ass story where he's rescuing Michelle Obama from
Donald Trump.
Melania and Donald Trump. What other records on there? He got a couple records on there that's really dope with Orange Juice Jones. I'm like, where does this nigga find Orange Juice Jones? But those records are really dope. I feel like Orange Juice helped produce them. I didn't know that Redman produced a lot of his records. I just found it out too.
Yeah, he does.
So I'm like, damn, we slept on Redman as a producer then, because you know, probably because we gave a lot of the credit to
Eric Sermon
because he did like the real early stuff. But hey, man, if y'all haven't had a chance, I know it's been out for a minute. But I had to let people know, go listen to Muddy Waters 2 if you like Redman, because it is a great album. Redman is killing it. The flow is nasty. There's like a 9-minute posse cut with all the people from Jersey on there, which I think is dope. We got like Shaq. What's the girl that used to be in Flip Mode Squad?
Rod Digger.
Rod Digger. Yeah, got Rod Digger, got Lady Luck. It got a gang of people, like almost anybody you think of from Jersey, like Lords of the Underground is on there. The dudes who sang Chief Rocker. No, Will, I didn't know. I got it now though.
They got
that record is some work, man. I like that motherfucker. It made me even go back and listen to Muddy Waters 1 again, just to reappreciate Uncle Quilly and all the fucking characters in the skits and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, him and De La Soul was one of the first to really bring the skits to life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to bring those skits to life. I remember listening to 3 Feet High and Rising. It was like a movie. You know what I mean? And like you said, the original Muddy Waters, but this Muddy Waters 2, bangers. And I was like, damn, like this really got a bunch of bangers on it. I was pleasantly surprised. So shout out to Redman and his crew for the record Muddy Waters 2. We want to dedicate the second half of Pass the Aux to that album. Make sure y'all go check it out. So 2 pieces of homework for the WyldeThoughts audience. All right, go check out that Muddy Waters 2 album. Come back and tell us what you think next week, and look up Marvin Gaye's I Want to Be Where You Are. Almost sound like an unfinished demo too. Like I don't know if it was like not, because it was just like he even like says goodnight to his kids in the record. It's like it's dope. It's gonna touch your heart. I'm telling you. So check it out. Mars, thank you for sticking with us the whole time, man. We didn't catch you up past your bedtime. He ain't turned to a pumpkin. Give it up for Mars. V-Ray, good to have you here as always. Oh, we got our new date for the next.
Bro.
I gotta tell the people we got the new date for our next karaoke night. Better venue, same vibes. We're gonna be at the Dragonfly in Hollywood. All right, this is a dope bar, dope club. What they call it? a historical classic club out there in Hollywood. So we're gonna be out there doing April 17th because I know it's a lot of people's spring break, so we want to do it on a lot of people's spring break. So it's gonna be April 17th from 8 to 12. We doing our karaoke night. The last one was super dope. We had a great time, man.
Yeah, it really was.
We had a ball, people singing, playing with the live band. It took a minute for people to warm up, but once they got comfortable and figured out, like, yo, we just here to have fun, people start signing up on the list, and it just got, the vibes were good, man. The vibes were good. The food was good. The drinks was good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I said, the
$10 drinks start circulating. That's when it got live.
And them $10 drinks were strong as shit.
They were.
And then, you know, we just, like I said, the place was just a little bit too small. Like, but that was like our pilot episode. We just wanted to see how it worked. And I didn't know that many people would show up for the first one, which I'm grateful for. You know, God bless. Shout out to Fly for helping us promote as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, so this one is going to be Wild Bunch, Sean Healy, Fly Cali Girl. We're going to be doing, I mean, not Sean Healy. What the hell? Sean Swoops, Wild Bunch, Sean Swoops, and Fly Cali Girl. We're going to be doing karaoke night at the Dragonfly. And that's going to be April 17th. And we know it's a lot of birthdays. So if y'all want to come celebrate y'all birthday with us, hit us up so we can get you a table and all that good stuff. And hopefully after this one, we want to do it every fourth Thursday of the month. We did this one because of spring break, but after this, we want to do it every fourth Thursday of the month. Yeah, Willie, fill out your papers now. Get the whole family out, man. We're going to make a good time of it. Like, it's going to be great. Like I said, we had fun. Once people knew that, because I think people felt intimidated, like they felt like you had to really sing because it was a band. They feel like they really had to know how to sing. Like, no, like, we want you to feel just like this is with karaoke, except you just get to be like a star with your own band. And once people got past that, people just start getting up there having fun, man. And we had a ball. So, yo, tell all your people to come out because this is our night. This is Wild Bunch throwing this, so we need y'all support. We trying to give y'all something to do. And we're going to have the games out, too, still, because, like, there were games upstairs, and people was playing, you know, we had the big Jenga. We had the super big Connect 4. We had, you know, some card games up there, left, right, center. We had all kind of stuff up there. So come out, sing a song, and if you can't sing or don't want to sing or you're too scared to sing, play some games. And we had some pleasant surprises. There was a young girl there who asked for Anita Baker, and she killed it.
Yeah. Oh, girl that did what's the is it Angie Stone? Not Angie
Jill
Stone.
Scott.
Jill Scott song. Yeah.
Is it the way?
Yeah.
She killed it. Then we had Nicole. She did nothing but a G thing and start crip walking in her high heels and the afro. She killed it. It was good, man. It was good.
It was
so everybody, cool. Let everybody know we got 3 weeks. We want to pack the house out again like we did here at the smaller spot. We got a bigger spot though, so we got to make sure we push this thing even more to pack it out. So let everybody know April 17th at the Dragonfly. I'm gonna post it. I'm making an event tonight, and I'm gonna post it on my page soon and the Wild Bunch page soon after we get off. But still, April 17th, come check us out. 8 to 12, the Vibe live karaoke nights with the Wild Bunch, Sean Swoops. Make sure y'all come. We'll see y'all next time. Appreciate y'all rocking with Wild Thoughts. We out.
Stop the world, let me off. I don't like this destination. I like a transfer to the express line. I gotta get off. Electric slide to the double doors of life. Things are changing and it ain't the way I like. On the replay, wish I could get a replay. Don't mean to hold ya, but I wanna do over. Gas up the ship, shoot me a text and let me know when it is time. I wanna get off, I wanna get off. 1 star, would not recommend that we go far from here. I wanna get off, I wanna get off.